Brother, I'm so interested to hear your story, man. Should we start there? Should we start from the
Oh
beginning?
man. I mean, I guess it's not crazy. I had an amputation. I but I don't think I've had time to think about my amputation because I took over the adaptive scene unintentionally. So I
Hmm.
don't know if you know this, but I was living in Iceland and then COVID
Wow.
happened and then I was scared. Everybody was scared. I didn't know what to do. And I was like, I'd rather get stuck in the States, than get stuck in Iceland. And I came back to the States and it just went from there. And then I had to make a decision. So I've been disabled since 2016. And I had 12 surgeries in that time frame from 2016 to 2020 or 2019 was 12 surgeries and it was limb salvage. So the average amputee that I have met, they've been limb salvage, especially if they're military. Something about trying to save someone's leg is just one of those things. And I was one of them.
Wow.
And I had to make the decision, man. And they didn't want to do it. So that's the crazy part is that I had been begging for amputation and they didn't want to do it. And then finally they did it. And I posted a video. So Sonny Webster is a very good friend of mine.
Yep. I know
And
Sonny.
he's also my coach. So he's also my coach. And Sonny posted a video of me doing a one-legged power clean. And I was just messing around, man. It was like 6 days post amputation. I wanted to see like what I could do. And um, that is when it went crazy. Dude, Sonny's got a large following
Hmm.
and it went crazy in the UK. It was like I'm not even in the UK, and everybody in the UK was just like blowing up my social media, man. And I saw this video on like all UK platforms, and honestly, that is what started my journey. So I don't think there's anything crazy that needs to go into the disability story. I just think that what the uniqueness of who I am and what I'm doing,
Hmm.
it starts from the day that I got my leg amputated.
I love that perspective. A lot of people see obstacles and others see opportunities, right? There is no obstacle. You're a fucking athlete. You're either going to do the work or you're not.
Yes, but I think that that is where I have a problem with that in the adaptive space because I think that everybody I think we use this term athlete very loosely. And
Hmm.
I think everybody feels the need that they either need to be a Paralympian or an adaptive CrossFit Games athlete or you're not relevant at all. And I think that that's a problem because to be an elite of the elites of the elites, that takes a lot of work. And it's not you're not doing this on weekend competitions. And I'm not trying to burst anyone's bubble. I'm just keeping it 100. I
Yeah.
live in
Yeah.
hotel rooms. I live on airplanes. I live in competitions. I just told you, I am on my way to Brisbane, Australia. After having a speaking engagement in Indianapolis, I'm about to have a 16-hour layover in California. And in that mist, I have to get 2 training sessions in and then make it back to the airport and then get a training session in Sydney. So I think that there's a followed misconception. And I'm trying to change that narrative because somehow, some way, individuals get amputated and they think that they're Paralympians. They think that the role and the goal is to gold.
Hmm.
Listen, if you were elite and you were an athlete before you got amputated, then let's have a conversation. But if you never ran a day in your life, what makes you think that all of a sudden you have this amputation and and then you're just at this platform? So I think that's what's tough about the space because everybody wants the sponsorships. Everybody wants the media attention. Everybody wants the large social media following. But if you follow my narrative, I don't have a large social media following because I don't play the I'm an amputee, help me.
Yeah.
Or something that really bothers me is the amputee disabled identity, where everything is about your prosthetic. Everything is an amputee joke. Everything is, well, I'm disabled. And if you look at the people that are followed that have large followings on social media, it's not the ones that are trying to lift heavy weight over their head. It's the ones that are like, I couldn't get out of bed today because I had a blister or a bone bruise. I'm gonna tell you something right now. My coaches don't care about that.
Yeah.
I have to perform and show up every day at 100%, no matter what my residual limb is acting.
I think that victim mentality has bled off into idealizing people who might not have earned it. It's like, and I think this goes across the board, right? This is not just if you an amputee or got neurodivergence or whatever, an adaptive athlete. It's across the fucking board. It's athletes. It's now in business. It's everything, right? And you're like, guys, first of all, you're not a victim. You know, nobody gives a shit. Work as hard as you can. In about 2 years after you die, everybody's going to forget about it, including myself. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm not pointing fingers. No. This is just the way of the world, man. We just have to go out and fucking work. And I like to think about it as we're all dealt a set of cards, right? What cards we're dealt is not down to us. Yeah, you might be dealt a shit hand, and I'm really sorry for that, but there's now what you can do about it. But the way you play it, it's got everything to do with you. You got to get really fucking skillful. Bluff the shit out of it. If you got a 2 and a jack offsuit, 2-7 offsuit, what are you going to do about it? And someone's holding pocket aces, you're going to have to bluff the motherfucking shit out of this. Get
and
skillful
that's
with it.
and that's and exactly, and I appreciate you saying that, because if you really dig deep into my story, man, I've had adversity since the day I was born.
Yeah.
I'm a product of social services. I had abusive biological parents. I had foster parents. There's just a lot. I'm part of the LGBT community, but I'm not gay enough to be gay. I'm not disabled enough to be disabled. I am not brown enough to be brown. I'm not white enough to be white. There's just a lot in the communities that what I do, and I just honestly think that the success of my career and the success of my life is honestly just winging those shitty cards that were dealt.
Fucking A,
That
man.
is just that is just what it was, and that is just what it is, and that is just what it continues to be. Because if you fast forward, I had to deal with an amputation, and then my partner committed suicide.
Mm.
So how do you pursue an athletic career? To be an elite athlete, you have to have a different type of mindset. And when your mindset is tapped on a whole different spectrum of trauma, I didn't sit back and say like, well, I didn't win this competition because my significant other committed suicide,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So I definitely agree with what you just said. And the victim mentality 100%, it's not just the disabled community.
Yeah.
It's
It's
everywhere.
everybody.
If you
It's
look at
everybody.
social media, if you look at social media, the large following are not the individuals that are doing hard shit.
Yeah.
It's the individuals that are telling you that it is okay to sit on a couch and eat ice cream and cry your feelings. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm a very vulnerable person and I'm a very honest person. I will tell you when I'm feeling sad, when I'm mad, when I'm agitated, I'll cry and I'll tell you all that. You got 5 minutes to cry
Mhm.
and then it's time to be gangster. That's it. Like that is what it boils down to.
Yeah. I think we swung the other way, haven't we? We need to find some sort of balance. We've now gone, oh no, it's okay. Put your feet up. You've earned it. I was like, mate, you've worked a day and a half. Like, no, you've got to go out and fucking work again. Go to the
100%.
gym. Like you've been once in the past 2 weeks. No shit, it's not working. And I think we went one side of the pendulum and went, you got to break yourself. No pain, no gain. I was like, well, yes and no. Because there are some individuals out there who are crazy enough to keep going and literally break themselves, and that's not good. And then the other side of the spectrum, we're like, oh, okay, cool. If that's not good, we're now going to sit on our couch and everything needs to. I need a morning routine that takes me fucking 3.5 hours. You're like, holy shit! Like, there's not enough time in a day, mate. There's not enough time in a
Or
day to.
the crazy epidemic of I do a cold plunge at 4, and if you don't do it, then you're not a man. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
go run 50 miles before I have to be at work, right? So I think that there's no happy median.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And reverse it to what you just said. there's a level of crazy of where you're breaking yourself, right? Which
Yeah.
is not a good, it's not a healthy place to be. But at the same time, in order to be successful, there has to be a level of crazy of like, I don't want to do this. That's why I don't believe in motivation. I don't have motivation. Like after this call, I have to go get a workout in before I go get, dinner. I don't want to do it. I'm tired. I want to pack my bags and I want to go to bed as early as possible so I can get up at 4. My driver will be here. He'll take me to the airport. And that's the thing is like, we want the accolades, we want the attention, but we don't want to put in the hard work. And I just don't think that that's how it works. But what has created that culture? Instant gratification
Yes.
is that one video that gives you all this large following or buying followers or there's just so many things that have created that in societal culture right now.
Yes. People don't want to do the work. And they think life's complicated, right? And they're trying to find this secret sauce. And it's like, life's not complicated, mate. It's just hard. It's supposed to be fucking hard. It's a difficult thing, right? It's a slog sometimes. And like most of the time, you're like, I don't want to fucking do this shit. Good.
Man,
Do it anyway, man. Like no at the end of the day, nobody cares. I literally
right.
have a sticker and I can fucking show you, right? On my laptop, and it says, fuck you, work as hard as you can. That's it. That's me talking to me. Like nobody
Yeah,
cares. You set out, you made your bed, sleep in it now. Like,
right.
yeah, okay, don't do it until you like physically break yourself mentally in the gutter, complete burnout. Yeah, yeah. Put your feet up sometimes. Yeah, no problem. We need to take some time off. But the majority of the time, you're gonna have to fucking roll up your sleeves and get stuck in, mate.
100%.
Why do you do what you
Definitely
do?
agree on that. Ooh, why do I do what I do? Man, for me, my why plays a big role in mental health. My best friend committed suicide in 2018. And then I dealt with that and I thought I was dealing with it as healthy as possible, but now it wasn't a healthy way that I dealt with it. And then so I dealt with the suicide of a very close person in 2018. And then I dealt with my significant other committing suicide 2020. And honestly, for me, I started to realize that mental health and just us as humans, I don't think we're handling it correctly. We just explained it. I think we have either an extreme or we have a bare minimum. There is no happy median. I
Yeah.
think we have forgotten how hard humans actually are. I think we have forgotten how hard all of our ancestors, wherever you came from, busted their butts to get to where they're at. And I think now so our youth, right? You hear anxiety. I have severe anxiety, but the difference is I don't drink 4 cups of coffee and 2 Monster energy drinks to kick my flight or fight response to give me these anxiety things that your body does, right? I sleep 8 hours a day. I understand not everybody can sleep 8 hours. I am a professional athlete. I have that leisure to
Mm.
be able to do that. But when you're functioning on 2 hours of sleep because you decided to play video games or you decided to watch an extra episode of the Kardashians and you decided to order pizza at 11 and you didn't even let it digest because you ate that pizza at 11 and you went to bed at 12:30. So now your body's awake because it's digesting that food and then you wake up and you feel like crap and the first thing you do is pop melatonin because you need to go to bed and then you get 4 hours of sleep, you wake up, you take 2 shots of espresso and then you have a monster drink at 11, then you take pre-workout. Don't complain to me about your anxiety and your mental health, okay? You're not taking care of yourself. So I just think that I don't want to say I found the solution, but I can tell you I live a very balanced life. And don't get me wrong, last week, the week prior to that, I had a huge like depression had me in a chokehold. But the difference for me is I'm able to talk about it. And I was able to like drive to Miami. My cousins knew what they had to do to get me out of it. I let loose a little bit. So for me, my why became being real vulnerable about mental health and actually doing something about it. And then if you want the honest opinion, I think the disabled community needed someone like myself. I'm very vocal. I'm very abrasive. I'm a big ass dude. So I have no shame being authentically myself. Unapologetically myself 150% of the time. And honestly, I don't really care about people looking at me as a disabled person. A lot of people have problems with that. So luckily for me, I've been able to shape our youth to change their perspective on how people view us. I'm able to show people that you can do hard shit. I've only been an amputee for 2 years, man. I've been competing for almost a year and a half. That's like a 6 month recovery period. There's just no excuse. So I think that's the big why. To me, it's not, there is no money in this. There's bare to minimum money on sponsorships for Paralympians and adaptive athletes. So don't think it's the money. My money comes from other things. I also don't think it's the attention. Sometimes it's a little bit much for me for people to be so invested in my life, and you have to worry about what you do and what you say. And I'm around a lot of NFL players and a lot of Olympians, and it's just a different view. But honestly, I just don't see myself doing a 9 to 5. So I got to thank God for that, because I wouldn't see myself doing anything else. And I think I'm building a blueprint. I know I didn't start the adaptive CrossFit movement, but I think I picked up the torch and I'm running with it. And I'm dealing with the lack of support and the lack of funding that we have, and making something great out of what we can do.
How do we improve it then?
Oh, how do we improve it? Here's the problem. So it's not just the organizations, right? So CrossFit was running the adaptive division very messed up. And what happened? They lost probably 80% of the adaptive division. And then the certain individual that was running it got fired. And then Kevin Ogar took over. So now Kevin Ogar has to fix the mistake that this other individual did. Now, the problem that we have is a lot of individuals don't want to support that movement. But what we have to look into is that Kevin Ogar has no fault into what happened from when he got hired as the person running the adaptive division to now. That is his role in this small piece of life, right? Everything prior to that had nothing to do with him. So I think a lot of adaptive athletes are holding a grudge into, I was treated this way and I was told I wasn't disabled enough, that they either decided not to compete or they just decided to walk away from CrossFit as a whole. And then they went to wheel-wad, which is completely understandable. But then here's the flip the coin. There were no adaptive athletes, spectators at the CrossFit Games. So how are we supposed to prove that we belong in the space if we're not supporting each other? And what is everybody that's going to hear this podcast? Oh, but we don't have John Edward Heath money. We're not sponsored. I completely understand that. But I've also made it happen. I've gone to Wodapalooza this year. I didn't compete at Wodapalooza because I was in a full pro track and field season. But I showed up, paid for a hotel for 4 days out of pocket. I drove. I, did what I needed to do. Why? Because we needed representation. I needed to show face. Local competition, same thing. The CrossFit Games, same thing. Every possibility that I have the ability to show representation for adaptive CrossFit, I'm doing it. I just don't feel that I have a lot of people supporting me in the movement. Everybody's about hashtag adaptive CrossFit. Everybody loves posting the inspirational videos on Instagram. But every time I've trained at so many boxes and so many affiliates, do you know what the most common thing is? I'm the only amputee these coaches and these members have ever seen.
Ever seen, yeah.
How is that possible? How is that possible?
Yeah.
But you're quick to post that quick video of you doing a one-legged power clean and a one-legged snatch, and you love the, oh my God, you're inspirational. But why aren't you doing that out in the world? We have a lot of youth and a lot of adult, adaptive, disabled individuals that did not even know and do not even know that adaptive CrossFit exists. So how are we supposed to get the word out?
That's the thing. I speak to a lot of coaches a lot of times, right, during the week. And a good mentor of mine, and basically shared a beer with him Christmas time. And I turned around and I was like, how do we get we need a level 1 to be able to coach in a CrossFit gym. Cool. But how do we get at least one ATA trained So adaptive inclusive trainer, somebody who has got a qualification of coaching
But
adaptive athletes.
I don't believe in the ADA certification. If you want my honest opinion,
Go for it.
I think CrossFit needs to come up with their own certification to bounce off of CrossFit level 1.
I agree. But let's take what we got at the moment, right?
Okay.
Let's build upon it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. It's like you said, you go into gyms, right? Coaches have never seen anybody who's got an amputee or neurodivergence or anything like that. Okay, cool. Like, let's go expose them to something, fucking something. I don't care what it is. So go get something, right? Pull it back in, and now you can, yeah, okay, market it, quote unquote, of yo, it's an inclusive facility. We kind of know what we're talking about, or at least have some vocabulary of like, oh yeah, let's figure this out, and then you can open up to the local community. I'm a massive bottom up guy. I don't think top down works. I think everything is bottom up, most things, right? So once you have built the foundation of, i.e., your gym, you can go to local community center, right? Where they're going to hang out, local leisure center. They're going to hang out fucking everywhere around. Stop complaining about fucking Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or whatever bullshit, YouTube, right? Go to your bloody local GP center because everybody's got to go to the doctor. Go see them. Hang out if you need to. Be that weird guy who's just sat in the corner, like because you will see some folk walking through the door, whether they're elderly, whether they're wheeling in a wheelchair, whether they're signing to somebody behind a desk. Then go talk to them. Hey, this fitness thing. You can move your body. We give a shit about you too. You're part of the community. You're not this group over there. Those weird people. It's like fuck no, they're people. That's Jane. That's John, that's Alex, that's fucking Daphne. It doesn't matter. We're all people, right? And that's how we can kind of pull them in community wise. And then, how many raindrops does it take to make a ripple? One. But it takes a fucking lot of them to make a tsunami.
Absolutely. But I don't think anybody's putting in that work.
No,
If
that's for
you
damn
ask me
sure.
what I'm doing, if you're asking me what I'm doing, listen, man, I work with an organization called 50 Legs. They're throwing a gala, for fundraising. I signed up to run the Boston Marathon for them for exposure, any opportunity that I can. You have Equip Products. We use Equip Products. Equip Products is the rogue of the disabled community. Every opportunity that I have, whether it's on the media, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's on a magazine, I always mention Equip Products. I'm always promoting WheelWOD. I'm always going to different facilities, prosthetic offices. I'm always going to doctors. I'm always training at abled body facilities where there's nothing but NFL players, and it gives them an idea. Wow, like I've never seen an amputee lift that much weight. I've never seen an amputee run with a running blade. And I don't want to seem like I'm Superman, but I'm not. I just genuinely, I've been in this space for 2 years, and I'm letting you know, like, there's a handful of people that are doing the groundwork. Everybody else just wants the grants and the accolades and the free trips and whatever the case may be. And I just think that in order to fix the situation, you have to do the legwork and you have to find these individuals, because the problem that we're having in adaptive sports, we don't have replacements. There is no American kid looking to replace Carbon Fiber John on the lower extremity 2 points of contact for CrossFit. There may be a couple in the Paralympic sprinting world, but even then, I don't see kids that are like, I'm going to take your spot. How many people do you see in the CrossFit space ready to take Tia Toomey? They found out Tia Toomey wasn't competing, and Haley and Mal O'Brien and everybody. It was like piranhas. They were like, they upped up the little, reps, and they added more cardio, and they were like, this is my year. Like, this is my year. We don't have that in the adaptive space. So how do we fix that? It starts with the community, and you just said it, the bottom up.
Bottom up.
We can complain about CrossFit running it a certain way, or we can complain about no sponsorships, or we can complain about X, Y, and Z. Listen, man, I go to local comps all the time. I'm literally the only amputee and adaptive athlete at these comps. I just told you I'm the only amputee at these affiliates. I'm the only adaptive athlete, going to certain events and putting my name out there. This isn't easy. So when individuals get mad, and that's the thing, is what you need to know, there's a lot of people that are like, well, why did he get all the attention? I've been an amputee for 10 years and he's only been one for 2. I've done the legwork. The reason why I launched as fast as I could, are you kidding me? I competed in Barcelona last year. I'm really sad I can't compete in Barcelona this year. Last year, I went to Barcelona because I was like, this is very important to get American representation, but also representation in a different country. When I decided, so another thing, I decided to walk away from Paris. Why? Because I don't have the money to continuously run track and not get sponsorships. So instead of me crying and be like, oh man, I don't get to go to Paris, I flipped my script and decided to do CrossFit full time. And then I had my manager and my team like jot down all the international CrossFit competitions that I can make. You have the nationals coming up, right? You have the Iron Showdown. You have, I got, Oceania, Brisbane. You've got competitions in Brazil. That is what I'm focusing on. Why? Because I've already been seen in the States. People in the States, if you know adaptive CrossFit, you know of me. My big mission now is to expand that all over the world. Why? Because CrossFit is an international sport. Disability is an international dilemma, and fitness is an international language. You can go to Ukraine, you can go to Croatia and not speak a lick of their English, but you show it to a CrossFit box, I ain't gotta talk to you. I just gotta look at the WOD on the board, and we're all gonna move for an hour and then die and complain about it. And then at the end of the day, you're like, you know what? Cool. We were all miserable together.
Yeah.
So that's where my mindset's at. I work with an organization called Move United. I'm trying to build a pipeline for our youth to understand you don't just have to do a Paralympic sport. You can do adaptive CrossFit. But how do you know that at the age of 10? You're not watching people. The Wheel WOD Games. You know what really pisses me off about this year's Wheel WOD Games? I've had adaptive athletes tell me, oh, we're not going to Wheel WOD because we want to go to Barcelona or Wodapalooza. So you guys complained about not having a space for adaptive athletes. And then you had this beautiful organization called Wheel WODs give you a adaptive CrossFit Games, not a competition that features adaptive athletes. This is the CrossFit Games of adaptive CrossFit, and you just told me that you're not going to go because you would rather go to Wodapalooza, and Wodapalooza is not an adaptive competition. So where are our priorities? Are you really in it to change adaptive CrossFit and really put your 2 cents and leave your footprint in this movement? Or are you really just wanting the likes and the Instagrams? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care about Instagram. I made sponsors without Instagram likes. I made sponsors without an Instagram following. I don't care about that. The 4,500 people that follow me have either had a conversation with me at one point, have met me in person. It is all organic. I don't care about, oh, you're inspirational and you motivated me to get out of bed. I don't care. My motivation is to change how our youth and future disabled and amputees see the possibility of what it is to overcome adversity. That is the real mission.
I got 3 questions. What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
The greatest life advice I've ever received. Stop worrying about what people think. You made a comment. You said 2 years and people will forget about you.
Yep.
I don't think it's 2 years.
It's less.
I saw the love of my life. I saw the love of my life die. And then the day after, nobody spoke about him.
Yeah.
I saw my best friend die. And the people that told his mother that they would keep in touch and they were going to be a big family, they didn't keep in touch with her. You know who keeps in touch with her? I do. Because as a man and as an adult, it is my responsibility to take care of them. As a friend that I claim to have been to this person that no longer is here.
Yeah.
So why would I care? Why would I care about what people think about me? Why would I care about people telling me that I'm eccentric and I'm abrasive and I'm, you dye your hair and you wear, colorful clothes, whatever. It is what it is, man.
Welcome.
So the best piece of advice that I got is stop fucking caring about what people think about you. Stop caring about what, your action. Like if you're living your life for other people, you've already failed. I'm living my life for myself.
Yeah.
It's already hard being a human. It's already hard, to deal with your mental health And now you think that I'm going to worry about what some keyboard warrior has to say about my living of life? I'm good, bro.
Yeah, that strikes a note, man. That really does strike a note. I think yeah, we get it twisted, right? We want to make as many friends as we can. Why? Just have some fucking ride or die people around you. One,
That's
two,
it.
three, maybe a handful, mate. And that's it. Fuck
That's it.
everybody else, man. That's all good.
Yeah,
You
because I
getting
can tell you the
misunderstood?
average person, oh, 100%. And I can tell you the average person, they cannot call one person. Bro, if I needed 10 grand right now, or if I needed, like, if it is detrimental, there are, it's funny because my friend asked me, she ran a race with me and she was like, oh, like, who do you talk to? And I was like, dude, I talk to like 3 people.
Yep.
And she's like, but you're always around people. And I showed her my phone. And you know how you can pin your contacts,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, it's 2 of my best friends, my like older sister, my cousin, and like one other person. And that's it. But I could tell you right now, one person, ride or die, if I needed them right now, is my best friend Khalid Kareem. And I'm good with that. If I'm mad, if I'm sad, and the dude plays in the NFL, bro, he doesn't have time to be like FaceTiming me. He's in season right now.
Yeah.
But if I call that dude and he knows that I know he's at practice, that man is going to stop what he's doing to give me a call.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I would rather have that kind of loyalty than 100,000 fake people that don't even know my favorite food.
Ride or die, baby. That's the only way to be, man. What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
Ooh, worst piece of lack advice that I've gotten. Ooh. Um, I was told I wouldn't say it's advice, but I was told that I think too big.
Mm.
And I don't think I dream too big or think too big or act too big. I don't, and that stuck with me, you know?
Yeah, there is no too big. There is no too much, man. There's too big for you. There's too much for you. There's no, fuck them.
Right.
I'm on that train, mate.
Right.
Honestly, like
Right.
I get fired too often. I piss too many people off, but just because you shoot
Yeah.
straight, mate. Fucking shoot straight. Like if you're gonna, there's no point living life half dick.
100%.
What's 3 words you'd tell your younger self?
It's gonna be okay.
Mm.
When I was young, I hated that I didn't have a family. I hated that I was broke. I hated what I had become. I was partying at 15 years old, man. 13, 15. Looking back now, 32 years old, man, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble if I could go back and say it's going to be okay.
Brother, thank you so much, man. This has been a fucking privilege, mate. And I
I
hope
appreciate it.
we get to bump shoulders and we get a little bit of a workout in, mate.
Yeah, if you're ready for it, I'm
Mate,
gonna give
I'm
you a run
in.
for your money.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
I fucking snap me in too, lad. I don't give a shit. I'm in. You name it, I'm in. I'm up for anything. No problem. Fucking
Okay,
coffee and a
I'm
beer
with it.
afterwards. I'm fucking there. Hey, I
I'm with
appreciate it.
it.
You travel
Yeah, brother.
safe, kick ass in the gym, man, and we'll
Thank you.
speak soon, mate.
All right, brother. Take care.
My man. See you later, bro.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Later.